What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back with a Warframe video. So, today we're going over the companion rework. Basically, my ideas for it, as we do know there is a massive companion rework planned for this year in Warframe, as of the last dev stream. We'll be going over basically every companion, why they're good, why some of them are viewed as bad, and things of that nature. So, if you enjoy these types of discussion videos, make sure you're subbed to the channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads. I'll also be live tonight with some more Warframe on my live stream, so come stop by if you want to try out the live stream as well and come hang out and farm. Alright, so Pablo, the lead gameplay overlord, whatever his title is at DE, he has stated there will be a new companion rework at some point this year, at least it's planned. And when I heard that, I said, okay, great. Hopefully they're not just nerfing Smita and Panzer. Because if you are someone that really follows a lot of videos for late game missions in this game, you might realize that most video recommendations have this thing as the #1 recommendation by very far. And when you go over the abilities the Panzer Volpifilo that comes from Deimos can do, it doesn't really surprise you much. At least it doesn't surprise me once you know the mechanics of this game. So the big thing this thing can do is it will put viral damage on enemies. Viral damage is a debuff, has a status proc that will debuff enemies take more damage from everything. So it's a debuff pet, an AoE debuff pet. Additionally, once it dies, because pets have health bars in this game, once it dies, it actually becomes like, I was just kidding, I'm not actually dead. It becomes a mini sentinel above your head that will still keep casting viral attacks on enemies. And it will respawn after 30 seconds. So, if you do, without even taking Martyr Symbiosis into account, it can cause viral debuffs on enemies and viral damage, technically, too. And when it dies, you don't have to revive it. It comes back to life in 30 seconds anyway. So, already, these two things are better than 95% of companions in the game. We stack on Martyr Symbiosis as well. It can actually sacrifice itself and give you an extra life sometimes, which is very good synergy with Panzer Devolution. It sacrifices itself, puts you back to like 10% health, and then it comes back in 30 seconds. You have an infinite revive kind of situation here if you don't die more than once every 30 seconds. So we're looking at the top of the top right here. This is basically as good as it gets. An immortal pet that debuffs enemies with good relevant debuffs and can also watch your back and save your back too. Not to mention it also has an armor strip ability, sharpened claws. It's just got a lot of good stuff here. Then we start looking at some other pets. So this is the best of the best basically. I'm just going to quickly show you how it works on these enemies over here. We'll just get like a butcher to show it off though. So just a normal butcher. I'm going to let the companion do what it's supposed to do. It's a level 195 Steel Path Butcher. And it'll viral debuff them. And it might even kill this guy, actually. So there's the viral debuff. 10 viral procs and no armor. That is... You can't really ask for very much better than that. That's going to make most enemies die in one hit. Especially when you get some Galvanite stacks on there. So that's the #1 pet. I want them to put everything on the level of this, honestly. Every pet that's getting reworked this year, let's start off with my first suggestion. Every pet that's getting reworked this year should have a way of coming back from the dead that does not require the player to go over there and hold a button above their corpse. Additionally, Sentinels have hardly any way to come back from the dead besides a very, very niche mod that is going to be not used by 99% of players anyway. So let's start off with every companion should have this as a baseline in some way. So let's go look at a bad companion, or rather one's viewed as bad. How about the Visored Presence? I don't even know what this one does. But Predicites in general actually do not have an ability to come back from the dead. You have to go manually revive them. So reading what this guy's abilities has, he's got Acidic Spittle. Every 5 seconds he will blind an enemy within 30 meters for 12 seconds, deal some corrosive damage. Additionally, in combat they will release a maggot that will pull enemies in and cause a viral damage, explosion, and then also release a trail that will heal allies and companions for 300 health over 5 seconds. Now, this stuff might seem good, and then also you can put the Hunter mod, you can put the whole Hunter mod on here, which is quite nice. So here's the thing. The things this is doing are not things that are actually very hard to obtain without this companion. Blinding an enemy with dealing some corrosive damage. Corrosive damage is honestly power crept a lot. Corrosive status effects in general just only... They used to remove full enemy armor, they no longer do that. So this guy's ability right here, Acidic Spittle, is worse than the cat's ability to remove armor entirely. Now, I know this one probably does it more often. Every 5 seconds it will blind an enemy. But healing is not really viewed as a meta ability at all. And neither is whatever this is supposed to do. Every 15 seconds, something. Let's go take a look at what this same companion does on that exact same butcher. Keeping in mind that, yeah, the Panzer didn't kill it instantly, and this one might actually, this one's modded for more damage. But let's just see, the blinding corrosive thing, is that actually even anywhere near as good? So that guy's blind. I see no corrosive effect. So we have a maggot now. So as you can see, like this companion is probably just as difficult to get as the Panzerwelpenpfeile, but what is it even doing right now, right? Like, there's things like this where it's like, what is the purpose of this? One enemy every 5 seconds might sound decent, but then you remember that this enemy would probably be next to 10 other enemies in the mission. So all the abilities that are like single target and don't do anything, you could honestly just remove them probably. Who's gonna really cry if acidic spittle is removed from the game? This is not even worth the mod slot as far as I'm concerned. So if we were to remove some of the abilities that aren't as important, so such as acidic spittle, a single target blind, or maybe you could technically just buff it. You don't have to remove it technically. Make it where the enemy is blinded, and now if they are killed, it will release a corrosion proc in the area, right? Like things of that nature. But we're already ignoring it. I already moved to the first command. Already ignoring the fact this thing cannot come back from the dead. So what they really should do is that, remove the useless abilities that don't really matter. Like this one, I'm sure that it was fun to program it, but it's not doing anything. Make this ability, once the visor predacyte dies, killing 50 enemies will bring it back from the dead. And you could even take it further and make it specialized to each type of enemy. This is supposed to be a healing support dog, I guess. How about upon restoring 500 total health, the companion will come back from the dead. You could specialize it to each type of companion, because this is not the only random predacyte that no one cares about. There's actually 3 different predacytes, and these should be on the same level of those Wolfenpfeiles. I'm not saying that the early game, Taxon has to be as good as a Panzerwelpenpfeile. But when we're looking at these types of things right here, these should be on the same level. Dogs and cats should be on the same level as far as I'm concerned. So, looking at another one like right here, I don't think I even use the abilities on this Pharaoh Predacyte. This one's got, okay, it's got the same abilities as the other one. This is more of a damage build here, Mecha Overdrive. So this is going to be for AoE slash procs. Could release some toxin damage. So yeah, you could really hyper specialize these to be revived in certain ways, or you could just make it less of a headache and make it where every companion has the same kind of revive mod. So, for example, let's go look at a sentinel. So these sentinels have no way of coming back from the dead. They have prime regen, giving them 3 extra lives per mission. If you want to bring them back from the dead, I believe it is called Hard Reset for the Parasite. Is that still in the game? Let me know if you ever heard of this one before. So this mod right here, execute 3 mercy kills within 40 seconds to revive a falling sentinel or companion. I think DE realizes this is not good enough. Because they're doing a full companion rework this year. So don't bother with this. If you really, really desperately want to use a Sentinel right now, you could do this. But just keep in mind, DE realizes this is not enough, so they are doing a companion rework this year. Additionally, there's a dispensary augment for Protea. Let's see if I have a dispensary build on any of these. Looks like I do. Okay, so there's a dispensary augment for Protea called Repair Dispensary. Hold the dispensary to revive a companion or MOA once every 60 seconds. But remember, this is going to require hyper-specific gear and weapon modding. I have to use a mod slot up, so I take off like a mod, put on Repair Dispensary. I have to also be running a Sentinel, which is not viewed in a very positive way right now. And additionally, I have to be running Dispensary in the first place, so I'm using a helmet specifically for reviving a Sentinel even in some cases. So way, way, way too specific. They need to change that, and they are changing that. So a universal way to revive all companions with just, and maybe even not use up a mod slot. These things have a mod drain issue, as you can see right here. I've got 4 Forma, and I don't even have maxed out mods. I'm missing a mod slot and everything. If you can make it where companions have that built in and doesn't require a mod slot, that would be nice, but I'm expecting it to take a mod slot, whatever it ends up being. Additionally, hyper-specializing companions to be, good against Eximus, for example, could be nice. Remember Hounds? I've tested out Hound way too much, and a lot of the abilities for these things are terrible, not to mention the weapons. So, there's pretty much when you're building a Hound, it comes down to 2 or 3 different builds. So there's the triple dog build. This is used when you usually have, when you realize that the dog abilities are bad, and you're like, okay, let's make the best of what we got. When you put on triple dog, you can put Shattering Impact on your melee weapon, and it will make it where the enemy's armor is being removed, and you have 3 dogs removing armor. It removes the armor a lot faster. But, I mean, there are so many stats that just don't even work on this melee. I don't even want to think about it right now. But yeah, I think they should really, make these abilities more powerful. So triple dog, when it's in triple dog mode, it can't cast its AoE abilities. So that's an already, like, you're doing a triple dog build, you should not have any other abilities on here. And then moving on, anti-Eximus, we got null audit, removing some overguard from an Eximus every 60 seconds. These numbers could probably be tuned up. Like, make it like every 20 seconds, it will remove 75% of the overguard. No one is using these things unless they're leveling them up. You need to make this an enticing offer, DE. I am not running null audit or evasive denial ever, because this thing doesn't even get equipped. So all these things need massive either number buffs or just replace them, dude, and turn the synergized proboscis or prospectus into the revive mod. So if they want to hyper specialize it, make it where hounds are going to be like, okay, after 5 Eximus kills, you get a revive or something like that. Make it where you need to be pushing hounds so much, D. These come from tenant liches. They're annoying to do. This is the only place you can get them is from tenant liches, or rather corpus liches, whatever they're called, corpus sisters. These need to be on the level of Vulpaphilas, or even higher, honestly, because this is more late game content than Vulpaphilas, technically. So they got their work cut out for them, let's just say that. As far as other companions, I'm going to go over every companion that needs a buff in some way. Every Predacite, they need revives and maybe better abilities. Worm Prime actually is pretty nice. He has the negate ability that he can actually prevent status effects of one of the better Sentinels, but still Sentinels need survivability buffs. And also, why can't we just, do we have to have the mod to make them attack on here? Like, I know it's like an ancient spaghetti code, like, companion AI thing, but why do they have to have a mod to attack? You technically can take it off and make them not attack, but I always just found that kind of weird and like a really old, 2017 feature of Warframe. But moving on, so you could rework him in some way, maybe just buff all these abilities. You're doing a massive buff to these abilities, go for it. Tax on Prime will probably be here pretty soon, but yeah, they could definitely use a buff on that. MOAs in general, MOAs just feel really dumb. Like, I feel like they just stand there and face tank damage a lot. Let me know if you guys agree with that in the comments, but I feel like MOAs die a lot more than even a normal Predacite or whatever. So MOAs has some decent abilities. So Stasis Field's very good. Anti-Grav Array is kind of annoying, so I don't know why I even have that on here, but yeah. MOAs has a couple good abilities, mostly Stasis Field. So they're more looking for the revive aspect and maybe some, number tweaks. This Stasis Field is very good, though. I'd highly recommend if you haven't tried it before. And then maybe you could even buff their, how about the ability strength of the frame buffs the damage of the MOA's gun or something too. Shade Prime, I know some people like that, so that one's probably fine. Just give it some survivability buffs. Oxalis, this is just meant for fishing, so who cares about that. Nautilus has a very good ability, but again, these companions just die and they can't come back unless you really jump through some serious hoops. So, yeah, really, there's a lot of work here to be done. But also, I think it would be quite successful, because what it really comes down to is people are running Smida and Panzer, and then really not much else at high levels. And then most people that don't have Smida or Panzer equipped are just leveling stuff up. For Kubrows in general, they have the Mecha set bonus, which is very nice for spreading AoE slash procs. But again, these Kubrows take a lot of Forma. I have 5 Forma on here, and not even a full build. So it's a lot, and it's a lot of Forma. It's a lot of level 10 mods. You got 2 level 10 mods on here, 3 level 10, 5 level 10 mods on here, and it's not used. So that's really a big deal, and they need to be doing something about that. So it's going to be a similar case for most of these companions, guys. Any Sentinel is going to die too quickly and not have an easy way coming back. Every dog or cat that's not a Smida or a Panzer is going to be not have useful enough abilities. Now, that's going to probably end up with them nerfing Smida, is unfortunately what they're probably going to do. I hope they don't do that, but if you look at these abilities that some of these Kubrows have. The Kubrow cries with a blood-curdling howl that strikes fear into 5 enemies within 4 meters for 6 seconds. So, how about, okay, so do you want 5 enemies within 4 meters for 6 seconds, or do you want double Kuva? Or do you want an immortal cat that comes back from the dead and viral procs and armor strip stuff? This one right here, the Roxa Kubrow, this needs an entire rework, honestly. This is not gonna work. Giving their shield gating Kubrow. Yeah, maybe this was good, we didn't have as much power creep, but we are way too power creep for this to be good anymore, so. They got some serious work. Hey, the icon for both of these is the same. Shelter and Protect. I never even noticed that. Same mod picture. Interesting. So that's going to basically be it for the video, guys. Every companion basically needs a rework. I don't envy whoever's having to decide on these things because you got a lot of stuff to do. So expect that sometime during the year. Stick with your Smida and your Panzers for now, and then I hope that it is good enough to be switching off of this stuff. Either way, guys, I'll see you in the next video. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you on stream later tonight. Peace!